I Am Athlete presents Paper Route. We have another day, which means we have another opportunity to get the job done in the world of sports. And when I talk about world of sports, it's here. We're no longer in what Ashley would call the dog days of sports. What does that mean? The way she defines that is there's nothing to talk about, absolutely nothing. We're in between seasons when it comes to the NBA, in between seasons when it comes to the NFL. Nobody watches the MLB. I don't care what Ashley Nicole Moss say. She's a Yankee fan, but she barely watches the game. She can't pay me. She can't. There's nothing she can say to convince me that she watches the Yankees until it's time to watch the Yankees, and that's playoff time. So we'll get into it because there's a lot of news. Ashley Nicole Moss, you made it back home safely. You know, I was super concerned about you, your injury, being on a PUP list, being on IR, then going to PUP, and then going out to Yankee Stadium and participating in a celebrity softball event. Please give us the play-by-play. How are you doing? Welcome back.
Well, oh yeah, this is me hitting the ball that y'all didn't think I could hit.
Right.
It was like a little bunt. It was like a baby bunt, I would say.
Got the job done.
Yeah, it's a little baby bunt. I did not make it
Hold
to
on. Run that back.
Going.
Run that back. Hold on. That came up. That crept up on me quickly. Hold on. What is that?
I
had a hit?
I bunted it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't make it to base. I couldn't run fast enough because my foot, it's been a while since I worked out and ran. So Ja Rule got me out.
That first step looked a little painful.
It looked painful.
Yeah, the first step hurt a little bit.
Okay.
But I hit it.
Yeah.
So that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to hit it. I played second base. I didn't play third.
Okay.
I did really well on second base though. I was able to go ahead and get some people out. So that was good. I was really, the sweet spot for me was base. But yeah, first of all, people do watch baseball, Brandon. I believe if we pulled up the statistics of viewership, it's probably the second highest viewed sport in America.
Yeah, right.
After the NFL.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure.
Is it? No, before
after the
NBA?
NFL. Yeah, I believe so. I believe it gets more viewership than the NBA.
Is it because there's just more games? Like, what is it?
It's just an American
shade.
pastime. It's just kind of, I believe if you look it up, it's probably top three, number two.
Baseball is third, actually.
It's third now?
Basketball is second.
It has to be third.
Who's second?
Basketball.
Oh, so they surpassed them. But for a long time, they were ahead of basketball.
Yeah, no, ain't no surpass
Yeah.
nothing. No, ain't no surpass nothing. You're wrong. And
Okay.
there's no shade. I think they're probably in the fourth. By the time the WNBA season's over, this year's been phenomenal. We're going to start talking about WNBA more on Paper Route, but I believe WNBA will be third and MLB will be fourth. And now that Messi is here, Ashley Nicole Moss, I believe that the MLS will be in front of the MLB.
And I think NHL could even make a push. Honestly,
You guys are talking about sports that don't overlap in seasons, or if they do overlap, it's very quick. But the Yankees are in last place, so I'm not watching them. They're pissing me off this year. So I'm not gonna bring myself to watch them. I'm not having fun. But the game was really cool. CC Sabathia and his amazing wife Amber, they do this event every year to raise money for underprivileged youth in the New York City area. So it's very, very cool to just be in Yankee Stadium and get the perspective of the actual players. Like you're on the field, the lights come on when the sun goes down, and you just get to see, oh yeah, so there's some of the photos. There's me and A Boogie with the hoodie.
Yeah.
There's Bridget Kelly.
Oh, wow.
We have
nice.
Toya from Power. We have Dash from Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
So it was a really fun time. We got fitted with Yankee stuff. CC Sabathia, the legend himself.
Legend.
I mean, for real. But it was just so cool being in Yankee Stadium, actually on the ground, seeing it from the player's perspective. CC and his wife are amazing. They deck you out in all Yankee official stuff. Yankee hat, the jersey, it's custom on the back, has my initials, the number I picked. They hook you up with cleats, Yankee socks, just really, really dope stuff. Yeah, it's really, really cool. The crowd, the kids love A Boogie.
Yeah.
The crowd was going crazy for A Boogie with the hoodie. Those kids love him.
Hometown hero. They
absolutely love him. It was a really cool event. It was really dope to be part of it for sure.
So Ashley, can you give us the number one highlight for you, right? Running out the dugout. I don't know if it was in the locker room, out in front on second base. Thank you for taking my advice and not going to third.
They switched me. No, they switched me. I didn't pick it. They switched it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what was the highlight? What was the number one highlight? Someone you met?
No, it was you know what? It was that was probably my favorite part was meeting new people. I got to chop it up with Tracy Morgan. He was one of our coaches.
He's a legend.
So we were sitting talking about, basketball, baseball, football. He invited me to his box for the Giants Cowboys game. So that's going to be cool.
Are you going?
Of course, I'm gonna go.
You got to.
Bun B, Ja Rule, obviously, it was so cool. Fat Joe was Fat Joe. Did Fat Joe end up pulling up? I don't think he did. But it was like Tiki Barber was there. Like, it was really cool to just chop it up with so many people. Some that you knew, some that you didn't know, and just getting an opportunity to meet people and connect with people that you haven't seen in a while. Pekkas was out there. It was just a really cool opportunity for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. You had a good experience.
Well, there you have it
too. It looked like the weather was good too.
Oh, the weather was amazing, and it was a heat advisory in New York.
Was it?
It was like down here, so we got blessed with some good weather.
That's all right.
Yeah.
There you have it. Ashley Nicole Moss's extensive network continues to grow. She knows absolutely everyone in entertainment and sports. Can't wait for the fall. We're gonna have so many guests on. And we're going to go through Ashley Nicole Moss's Rolodex. It's going to be a fun fall for us. Speaking of the fall, speaking of being out the dog days of sports, talking about news, there's so much news. Corey came to me this morning and asked me and said, guys, it's too much news. I want to get into some discussion. So we narrowed down our news of the day to right around 6, maybe 7 topics. So I'm going to start us off this morning, Ashley. Welcome back. I won't be able to go on some legendary rants like I did yesterday. Whenever you're not on the show and it's just me and Corey, I absolutely just dominate. I absolutely just go on these epic 15, 20-minute rants. And I feel like our audience digs it a little bit. I think they love when I go on these crazy rants. They just don't like my basketball takes yet. So let me dive into the news of the day. A lot of people got paid. A lot of people are getting paid. Yesterday, we got to add to that list. We got a chance to add to that list. Justin Herbert, starting quarterback of the Los Angeles, not the San Diego Chargers, but the Los Angeles Chargers. He got a big bag. Some said yesterday, and some people are still saying, Ashley, that it's the biggest bag we have ever seen in the National Football League. But if you actually look closer, you will actually see that the news is that it's a team-friendly deal, extremely team-friendly deal. This is not the biggest bag. When you look at new money, he got a 5-year, $260 million deal, some change. I'm not going to give you all the exacts. We probably have it right there. Corey, you can help me out after I land the plane here. But he got a big deal. And when you looked at the deal yesterday, the new money and all the reports coming out, it put him at the top of the list, above Jalen Hurts, who got a big deal this year at the quarterback position, above Lamar Jackson, who got a big deal this offseason at the quarterback position. $0.5 million more. But when you actually look at the 2 years he had left on his deal, due to make $4 million and some change this year, due to make $29 million and some change the following year, his 5th year, you will actually see that this puts him at right around 9, that pick right before Daniel Jones, who's making $40 million a year. So his APY average per year, Ashley, drops from $52.5 million a year to actually $42.5 million a year. So this is a really good deal for the Los Angeles Chargers, okay? And I actually think it's smart by Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert's locked in for the next 7 years, right? He's going to be able to keep the guys around him. He has Bosa. He has 2 defensive ends out there that are highly paid. You have wide receivers that need to get money, right? Offensive linemen. So I think this is a good deal, Ashley.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that it also, while, I give my take on this, we want to check Brandon's connection a little bit because it's going in and out. Like, I'm not hearing his whole situation. So I don't know if y'all want to work on that. But Yeah, I mean, I think this kind of changes the narrative that you have to have all this, amazing playoff success in order to get paid. I think that the NFL has shown that they are going to continue to prioritize the positions that they want to prioritize, regardless of this postseason success that I think that fans sometimes equate paydays to. I'm guilty of doing that in the NBA. I've done that a few times, and I've even changed my stance a little bit. One of the people that I did it with in the NBA that I was wrong about was Jalen Brunson. I was concerned about paying him X amount of money and that affecting our ability to build out the rest of the Knicks. He's worth every single penny, regardless of how much success he had in Dallas. Sometimes you invest in the upside, and I think Justin Herbert is a perfect example of that as well, along with some other people, in the NFL and sports in general. He's an intricate part of this team's success, and I think that it has been seen, despite, whatever shortcomings they may have had in the postseason, it has been shown and it has been seen what he can do to this team, what he can be for this team, what he can build with this team, and ultimately what he can deliver this team, and that's a Super Bowl. So I like the deal. I think it was deserving. I don't think anybody thought that he wasn't going to get paid. This wasn't going to be a Lamar Jackson situation. It seems like only the Ravens had an issue paying their quarterback. All these other guys are getting paid. All these other positions are getting paid. So I'm not surprised at this at all. I think that it makes perfect sense. I'm excited to see what he does with the Chargers for the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they start seeing some serious success, though. He's the real deal.
What are y'all's thoughts on him getting $100 million in year one, though? That was a detail
it's
that I wanted
front-loaded,
to yeah.
But I think that also is that's what team friendly is, though, because if you front load a contract like that, then the rest of the years where you're not having to pay out as much, you can build out in other positions because you've already given the money, the big chunk, the first year. So they've already allocated the money for that. And again, I know people will say, well, he hasn't had any playoff success, but sometimes a lot of the time, it's not about that. It's about the upside, and it's about the intangibles, and it's about what you have seen and what you're confident that you will continue to see. Yep. And some organizations are better at noticing that and rewarding that than others.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a really good deal. For the San Diego Chargers after I came out and said it's not the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, right? Like they had 2 years left on this deal. Ashley, you brought it up. Lamar Jackson, he had to play through his rookie deal, okay? And so this kid didn't have to do that. But when you look at it, you can see the reasons why. Ashley, when you look at through the first 3 years, he's on par. In actually playing better than Peyton Manning, actually playing better than the Tom Brady's of the world when they got their starts. We're talking about in touchdowns. We're talking about in QBR. We're talking about in completions. This dude is like that. And Ashley, you brought up a really good point. Now that they got this deal done, it's like I said before, it's a team-friendly deal. Can he get this team over the hump? Right? Because if you look at his record, I think he's 25-24. That's not good enough, right? At the end of the day, no matter who you are at the quarterback position, right, all those stats are great. But what they judge these quarterbacks on for, the number one thing is, do you get it done? Will you win? And right now, he's just a 500 quarterback. And then also he has one playoff appearance, which is great because they haven't made the playoffs, since 2018. They made it last year. So now, Corey, is can this kid get it done? And there's more news of the day, all right, around Big Bang.
Corey, you want to go ahead and...
I'm going to get shots here. Trevon Diggs, I'm sure.
Well, Brandon, let Corey intro this because we're losing you again.
Your connection's a little rocky right now.
A little rocky, a little bit.
So what Brandon was getting at was that there was another player who secured a big bag, and that was Dallas Cowboys cornerback Trevon Diggs. He signed a 5-year, $97 million contract. So that
hell yeah, baby.
That places him as like the 5th highest paid, corner in the NFL rather. What are your thoughts on this signing though, Ashley? You think
not surprised? I think Trevon is an amazing talent. So happy he's on my squad and not the opposing squad, especially not a squad in the NFC East. Right. I think that there's also room for growth with him. He does sometimes get blown on coverage, at times, and I think that sometimes he's not as aggressive as he needs to be. But I think that there's so much upside to him when he's at his best. He is such an intricate part of the team. He is such an intricate part of the defense of that secondary. So I think that, that's what you're paying for. Mm-hmm. He's so young. The sky is the limit. You're not paying for the things that he sometimes doesn't do right. Yeah. You're paying for all of the things that he does right, and he does right consistently, and that he can continue to grow in and build on. And he's the real deal. He's only going to get better. I'm excited. Yeah,
because that was my question. Do you think he will develop in his time
for
here
sure
as a Cowboy, and will he also remain a Cowboy through the end of his contract? Because I wanted to point out, they haven't had the best of luck with stars in the past, right? Ezekiel Elliott didn't reach the end of his contract.
Different position.
Smith, you had Amari Cooper that they signed to a very lucrative deal. Didn't end up wanting to hold on to that contract. Kind of the same with Lyle Collins. Do you see him? Do you see him being able to finish his contract out as a Cowboy?
I do, only because Ezekiel Elliott's a running back. And the wear and tear on running backs, especially with the Dallas Cowboys, where it's such a heavy run offense. They go ahead and they can go ahead and not have a long career because they're constantly being used. They're constantly being, handled. They're constantly getting injured. So that's a different position. Amari Cooper was something that was hard to deal with because he was our number one receiver. Yeah. But I think that contractually, money-wise, once CeeDee Lamb came into the picture, he was being groomed to be wide receiver number one. And he was going to cost less at that period of time. So they were trying to save money, cut corners. Some will say it was a good decision. Some will say it was a bad decision. I think CeeDee Lamb was always, like I said, primed to go ahead and take that position at some point. I actually don't think that this is going to be the same situation with Trevon Diggs. I think his position, I think his age, I think his ceiling is not the same as those other positions that I just mentioned, those other players, those other scenarios. I think that we're going to have a different outcome with Trevon Diggs. I think he's going to see through his entire contract. I would not be surprised if he ends up being a Cowboy for life.
That's the hope, man. I mean, you like to see that in sports, right? Guys start and then finish their careers with the same franchise. So,
and also, if you think about Amari Cooper, still a great wide receiver, but his speed just fell off a little bit since when he was with the Dallas Cowboys. So he's kind of taken a drop as well in terms of what made him explosive. Still one of the best, definitely not taking that away from him. But I think that he's dropped off a little bit, but I don't think that we're going to have that. Diggs is already a top CB in the league.
Yeah,
he's what, 23?
Yeah, he's
if I remember.
Yeah,
he's young.
So
24.
That's what
maybe he just turned 24, right? Almost 25.
September 20th. Yeah.
Okay.
Regardless, still young, and to your point, has a lot of potential and room to grow. So, hopefully that proves right, for the Cowboys in the end. But like you said, I see that being the case. But Ashley, the GOAT was at it again yesterday.
Messi.
He sure was. Yeah, you want to let the people know what he did yesterday?
2 goals in 25 minutes. So for everyone who thinks that Messi is washed or out of his prime, make sure you watch TV because Messi is putting on a show. He's doing it with ease. Obviously, Atlanta United, their defense is not great. Not a great football club. But that does not negate the fact that Messi mania in Miami is going crazy. And this is not even a full season for him. Remember, for people who aren't familiar, Messi's coming in the middle of the MLS season, and he's coming fresh off of his own off season because obviously he wasn't playing in the MLS. So Inter Miami right now, I believe, is still last, but that's because Messi wasn't there for the beginning. Wait until this time next year. Inter Miami is gonna go ahead and win a chip. Messi Mania is going to be a huge success. If y'all think it's popping now, just wait till he gets a full season under his belt. We're just getting a little taste right now. There's only a couple games left in the season. It's a little dabble, a little taste.
Yeah.
When the whole thing pops off, it's going to pop off for real. This is dope. I love it.
And I tell you
the greatest ever, the GOAT, baby.
And I tell you what, I cannot wait until Inter Miami plays DC's club. You know why? Because this guy, Wayne Rooney, he's the head coach of DC. Is it DC United? I forget. I'm not sure if I'm referring to.
Oh, is he the one who says they found it, that they come over here and they find it harder than playing in the EuroLeague?
Exactly. He says this was his exact
Come on,
quote.
Rooney.
He said he won't find it easy here. It sounds mad, but players who come in find it tough. Find it's a tough league.
That's a lie.
And just to put it into perspective, Messi has 3 goals in under an hour of play in the MLS already.
Well, one was a free kick, so
I mean, but it's
still a goal, but it's a free kick. But it's a free kick.
You can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
Yo, and to put this even more into perspective, right? It took Messi 741 minutes with Barcelona to score 3 goals. It took him 444 minutes for PSG to score 3 goals. It took him only 58 minutes for Inter Miami to score 3 goals.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I get it. You're a coach in the MLS. You got to defend your league. Like, that's no different than, like, Wemby saying the European League is harder, which it is. More physical, rather, which it is. But, like, you don't believe that MLS is harder than the EuroLeague. Come on now. You want me to believe that the MLS is harder than the Premier League? Be for real. Be for real.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that.
Come on now. Man, you.
All right, yo. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see Messi. We'll continue to see what Messi does, with Inter Miami. But moving on, Ashley, man, there was a guy who stepped foot onto the practice field today. The Buffalo Bills. They had day 1 of training camp, and Damar Hamlin was a participant.
Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely amazing. As you know, Damar Hamlin was the player for the Buffalo Bills that suffered cardiac arrest on the field, but he's making a comeback. And like I mentioned, he stepped onto the practice field for day 1, and there he is. How amazing is that, right?
I'm actually so disappointed that he had DM'd me asking me to play in his charity softball game at the beginning of July, but I wasn't even in a boot yet.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed that I couldn't go out there. His Chasing M's Foundation would have loved to have done it, but he's such a sweet person, such a kind, he just has kind energy about him. But this is amazing to see. You love to see somebody, who went through a scary moment in time, come out on the better end of that and back doing what they love to do. And it probably, I think people only focus on the healing physically, but emotionally, like, there's a lot of healing you have to go through. I could understand even having PTSD from stepping back on a football field after an experience like that. I mean, you hear of people who are in severe car crashes who never drive cars again because they're freaked out from it. So a lot of healing has happened for him physically, spiritually, and mentally, emotionally. And I love it. I love to see people overcome that and get back to where they want to be and what they love to do, and I wish him the very best. That's amazing.
We gotta be Marshall back.
Yeah, guys, I don't know if my audio is better, so please help me out here and let me know if you guys can hear me clearly before I interrupt the show again. But how am I sounding now, guys?
Sound good to me.
You're good right now.
Okay, great. Out here in Vegas, you would think that the internet would be and the connection would be a little bit better, but it's not. But I want to say this. When I saw this yesterday, you can see how emotional he was, right? Like, that's practice. There's so many moments that I've been in camp, and I love training camp practices that are public, that's open to the public, because it almost feels like game-like, right? Like, you go out there and you try to really put on for your fans, and it's a more intimate environment. I actually like practicing in open scrimmages, like the energy.
We're losing you again, B.
We're losing it again.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're losing you again. Yeah.
Let's see. I won't say where we're gonna try his connection one more time, but
we'll try it again.
Yeah. Well, how about this?
We'll keep it moving.
I wanted to shout out Houston Texans wide receiver John Mechie as well, as he was cleared to return back to play.
Wow.
He was a guy who missed his whole rookie year due to leukemia. So he's made a comeback. Yep, he's made a comeback, and he will be a participant in training camp this year. So.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, and I hate how people, when these situations happen, everyone becomes like a doctor, and everyone went to medical school and things like that. But it is so frightening. Just, I'm not even, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to pretend to be, but just from just an emotional standpoint, so frightening just all these situations with such young, healthy individuals. I mean, we're talking athletes, people who are supposed to be, not supposed to be, but are in like the best shape you can possibly be in. Just all these different scenarios, just these multiple cardiac arrests and these different things that they're dealing with when it comes to their health. It's so scary. It really is.
I was actually looking at something earlier today that said the leading cause of death for athletes under 25 in the last 35 years is actually cardiac arrest.
It's probably just stress related. It's just your heart is constantly like in overdrive than a normal person, just between all the physical activity, due to the intensity in which you play your games and your sport. But it's just, when you think of being young, you think of, you're allowed to go full throttle and just go hard and all the adrenaline and just go big or go home. And that's kind of like what you think your body is supposed to be able to do. And it's scary when that sometimes is not the case. Like, it goes against like what we've always been taught. Like, you know, time favors the youth and things like that. And, you know, your old head uncle will say, when I was your age, I used to play basketball for 7 hours a day and didn't have to. And it's just like, it goes against that whole, didn't have to stretch.
You just get up and play.
Can I tell you, before the softball game, I didn't stretch.
No.
The older guys on the field, like, you know, the guys 50 and up or 45 and up, were like, oh, you guys aren't, like, we're talking to the young kids and like, oh, you're not stretching. We're like, nah, I stay stretched.
For what? Like,
stretch for what?
To late 30s. But, you know, I actually had this question come about yesterday, right? And I see people talking about it in the chat. So I'm driving home and I just start thinking, I'm like, is it worth it anymore for LeBron to play with his son?
What do you mean?
Meaning that this is a pretty serious situation. And I would relate it to Damar in the sense that Damar, let's say he's got a family to feed, right? I don't know all the details of Damar, but let's say he has a kid and a wife, right? Then there may be different responsibilities that he feels, I got to go back on that field. Bronny's dad is a billionaire.
You know,
so like people are saying like, forget about it, take care of your son.
Oh, you're okay. Gotcha.
Like, I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts, but I see people talking about it in the chat.
I don't think so. I think that, again, I'm not a doctor. None of us are doctors. I'm not gonna pretend to be one. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes things just happen. Not comparing the two, but the situation with my foot just happened. And it doesn't mean that there's an underlying cause or an underlying situation. Sometimes things just happen. And I have 100% faith that LeBron, his amazing wife, Savannah, the entire James family would not put their son in a situation where it could happen again if it was a chronic thing. Sometimes things just happen. This could be that. It could have just been a horrible, horrible situation that transpired, but it's not like he's unhealthy. It's not like there's an underlying condition. It's not like they have something they need to worry about. Maybe it's something and a lifestyle change. Maybe he has to adjust. Maybe it's a diet change. Maybe it's something as simple as that. And maybe it's not, but I think that only they will know that. And I think that only they would be able to make that decision. But I don't want people to think like, oh, there's something wrong with Bronny and he should never play basketball again, because we don't know that. Sometimes things just happen. And, you know, I think that before basketball and before wanting to play with his kid and before wanting, you know, that storyline and the magazine covers, and, you know, LeBron's a dad and he loves his kids. You know, you see it when he's around them. He brings them into so many aspects of his life, so many aspects of his professional life. And his wife as well, they love their family. They would never put them in harm's way. So,
and I would also say that Damar Hamlin right now is a super inspiration, big time inspiration for Bronny.
Right.
Because he just did it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And to answer your question, because you
the
asked,
human body can really repair itself. Like Corey, you know, working in the fitness industry, like before you got on this side of things, the human body is like the way it can repair itself is honestly, it's incredible when you sit back and think about it.
Like a natural machine, if you would, right? But now to answer your question, because you asked, like, should LeBron James hang it up just out of almost support for
well, look
Bronny,
at the stats. He's got 20 years in, all the money you can ask for, all the accolades, everything. I get the aspiration with your son, But, like, if let's say he took it more serious than we're taking it, he might just want to protect his family. Yeah. He might look at it from that perspective.
Well, I say the perspective I'm looking at it from is maybe him staying in the league and waiting for Bronny to get there, because I don't think basketball's over for Bronny, right? I think he's going to overcome this situation and play again. So I think it might be motivation for Bronny, for his dad to be like, no, I'm gonna stay here until you get here, right? Like, I think he'll look at that as motivation, obviously, to just pick back up right where he left off. Like Ashley said, I think this was, just a freak accident. I think this is something that just happened. He was a healthy, individual, and things like this happen. So no, I think Bron just stays on the path that he was. I think they keep that, they keep that goal alive of them playing together, and hopefully we see Bronny playing for USC in the fall. But yeah, obviously scary situation.
Very scary situation.
But yeah, all we could just do is hope he makes a full recovery. But
do we want to try to get B's opinion in on here?
Oh, we got B back, huh?
Is Brandon back?
I don't know if I'm back or not. My internet is so bad here. So I just want to say sorry to all of our listeners right now. Sorry to everyone rocking with us on YouTube right now, and then also you guys in studio. I should have hardwired this thing. Manderville said, B, I keep telling you, when you go remote, you got to use Ethernet. Don't use 5G. 5G is hit or miss. So how do I sound right now? Or am I okay right now?
For now, you're good. Now. So if I were you, I'd get your point in quickly.
Right, get it across now.
Right. So I can't be long-winded. What's my thoughts? Well, I think Ashley hit everything. Ashley did a great job. The Damar Hamlin situation is a blessing. We've seen him. We really witnessed a miracle in our time. Like, that was a true miracle. He literally died on the field. And some people have a hard time saying that, but that's what we witnessed, okay? He was not with us. And so for him to be here and also suiting up months later is unbelievable. Yeah. And yes, I was able to hear you guys, and I do think that he is an inspiration to Bronny. And I do think there probably will be some type of friendship, some type of relationship formed through this. I'm sure that, Bron, his family, may have already reached out to Damar Hamlin and his team, right? So Damar is already tweeting and already sending love to Bronny. But Bronny is in a position to make a full recovery, right? So I've done some research here. He can make a full recovery because the medical team responded the right way, right away. And that's what matters, is those first couple minutes. And that's why you always see Damar Hamlin saluting his medical staff. And that's why his medical staff is getting so much love. And it wasn't even his head trainer that got the job done. It was like an assistant of an assistant athletic trainer that helped Damar and did the CPR there. But he did his thing in the real time. And that's why Damar's here. And I'm so proud of him and his foundation because they're starting this conversation. Not everybody's ready for this moment. And so, Ashley, I heard you as well, where, you weren't able to go to a softball event, but that would have been nice to see you go out there and continue to build that relationship with him.
Yeah, it would have been cool. I wasn't physically ready yet, but I told him next year, definitely, I'm in there. So.
Yeah. Did he say he was on IR? Yeah.
I was on IR, yeah. I was really on IR. I was still on crutches at the time.
Yeah, I think so.
So there was no way I could have even finessed that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So I couldn't even play a bass on a crutch.
Yeah. Well, good to see, again, Damar Hamlin and Mechie return to play. And, of course, we're hoping for a speedy recovery for Bronny James. But all right, moving on. This is something I've been trying to get in all week, honestly, because at the beginning of this week, plenty of NFL teams had released their throwback uniforms that they'll be incorporating this season coming up. So I wanted to look at several teams' uniforms, and I wanted y'all to tell me who y'all think has the best uniforms going into next season. Some are also some new alternate uniforms that some teams will be incorporating. So one is the Browns, honestly, which is one of my favorites. We started off strong here. We got I don't know what order we're gonna go in, so you can kind of just start going through them if you like. But we got the Cleveland Browns. They look good. It's like an all-white look. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the creamsicle. Yeah, that's a
that orange sickle.
Well, the Browns one, go back for a second. I can't really see the uniform completely. Mm-hmm. But the helmet's tough.
That's the aesthetic really all throughout the uniform. So like the pants kind of have like that stripe that you see there on the helmet.
Because the stripes on the jersey look brown and the helmet looks black.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
That's actually a good point.
It's probably a dark brown.
Oh.
So there's real beef happening right now because the Cincinnati Bengals came out and introduced their white helmets first.
Right.
And now the Cleveland Browns followed up and they introduced these white helmets. And so there's been a lot of back and forth between players. There's been a lot of back and forth between fans, people chiming in saying that the Cleveland Browns is trying to follow the Cincinnati Bengals. So there's some beef in this whole throwback conversation, Corey.
Mm-hmm. I agree that it does look a lot like that Cincinnati Bengals alternate uniform.
It really does.
But so I think we saw already, the creamsicle, that's
not
a
fan.
dub for me. I don't really like those. I mean, to each their own. So I thought some people might have liked this.
Hate the jersey. Not the helmet's dope.
Helmet's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess.
Jersey's not a fan. Not a fan.
I don't get the texture.
Well, I feel like if you're gonna go with the black helmet, go with the black jersey.
Well, hold on. What the Woo say?
It look like it's already been rained on or something. Or like
it does. It looks like it's been stretched out. Like it looks, like when you stretch something and like you can see the colors within the colors. That's what it looks like.
But I got to point out something weird.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you on that. I mean, it's a not for me. I do like these Jets unis, the all whites.
They clean.
Yeah. The Jets. This is a first time color combination, right? You guys didn't have all white uniforms with the Jets, did you?
No, I don't even know if I participated in throwback. You know what we did? We had Color Rush. Remember Color Rush?
Oh, you were there.
That's what we did with the Jets. Yeah, where you had those green, vibrant colors. Yeah, that's right. So I didn't participate in throwback week with the Jets. Mm-hmm. I did with the Broncos, maybe another team, but definitely not the Jets. I think these are okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when you have throwback weekend or Color Rush, to me, it's about the accessories, right? Like I was a guy that was investing in my cleats. I was a guy that was investing in my reg, but I was doing weird things. Like I was taking my cleats to the shoe cobbler and putting gator skin on my cleats, right? Like I got some dope Chicago Bears orange gators, right? Like I was doing things like that. Yeah. So if these guys come out and they actually really invest in their cleats, they invest in their gloves, now we're talking. Like even when I was a Reebok athlete, before we even started the year, we would look at all the uniforms and I would have them design some crazy gloves that would match my cleats and also the uniform. So it's about the accessories for me with all of these things. You got to make it pop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And now I think my favorite uniform hasn't popped up yet. I know we had I have a couple more. The Oilers.
Ooh, the best.
Tough. That's tough.
I remember that's my Eddie George days right there.
Right.
I think of Warren
Titans
Moon.
wear the Oilers uniforms next year.
I don't remember the orange so much.
Like, it's like a red-orange almost, isn't it?
Oilers is tough though. This is a tough uniform.
Yeah, this is a good one.
This is
I like the socks
Ashley,
too.
would you say this is the favorite so far?
So far, yeah. I automatically think Warren Moon when I see this. Like it's just an automatic. This one's fly. I like.
I go Eddie George.
Eddie George, Warren Moon.
Definitely Eddie George. For some reason, I see like Steve McNair when they used to wear these uniforms too.
These are tough though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is OD.
See that red orange. Never heard of that color before. Corey. Yeah. See, that's how I would freak this uniform. I would actually come with some crazy, maybe even a Color Rush type, approach with my cleats. But it would definitely be this reddish orange color that would make everything pop. And then my gloves would follow. And that's what I would do. And then in pregame, I would come with a crazy visor. And then, you got to switch it out because you can't have weird colors or dark colors if you don't have a medical exemption. Right. And then I'll put my clear on. But nowadays, guys, I'll say this before we move on. You're seeing guys that's coming out in pregame having one, type of look or the first half and then coming out the second half with something else. Like this is a show. You got to watch guys like Justin Jefferson. You got to watch guys like OBJ, the Deebo Samuels of the world, even bigs. The bigs are getting into it. The Trent Williamses of the world, like dudes that's 350 pounds. They're starting to come with some swagger, right? And so for me, what I would do, Ashley, I would come out in pregame with one look, come out first half with another look, get into halftime. Coaches is over here talking about game plans, X's and O's, how we gonna win the game. But I'm gonna be in the bathroom changing my whole uniform, taking off my sweaty ass pants, putting on new pants, putting on new socks, and coming with some new shoes. That's how I'm rocking it if I was still playing.
That's a lot to go through just to lose. Like,
Oh, that's crazy.
you know what I mean? Like, you want the Houston Oilers or you want the Texans to go through all of that just to take an L? They're gonna lose. Like, they're gonna look fly, but they're gonna lose. So it's kind of like I feel like don't do more than what's required because it's not gonna help you. But if you want to look good, like, you know what I'm saying? Look good, feel good. I don't know if you feel good when you take an L, but you can look good before you take one, I guess.
Ashley with the block.
Hey, listen, I think BC saved the best for last.
Hey,
There's like one more,
Corey,
right?
let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Before you move on, Corey, let me ask you this question. Who had more swagger when it came to dressing? Who had more drip, me or you at the wide receiver position?
Oh, come on now. Like, it was me. I personally didn't like the face
Good
mask
answer,
that you
Corey.
wore.
Good answer, Corey.
If we being honest, I personally didn't like the face mask you wore throughout your career, but it's cool. And the helmet choice that you had later on in your career, like those are things that me as a receiver definitely paid attention to. Like, yeah, it was. I was going to ask you too. Did you always wear a shield? Were you always a visor guy? I feel like some years you did, some years you didn't.
It's funny that you said that, right? That was one of the things that I wasn't. Yeah, my connection's still good.
Yeah, well, it must be delayed. It sounds like you're hearing me a little late, but go ahead.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you on time. Like, what I would say is, it's funny that you brought that up. That's one of the things I never compromised was, my vision, right? As a wide receiver, a lot of people think that you catch the ball with your hands, but you really catch the ball with your eyes. Yeah. So that face mask that I wore like an old school quarterback bar, old school quarterback
the Jerry Rice
mask. Because like it gave, like there was nothing in my vision, right? So that was the best face mask where there was nothing impeding, what was coming to me, if I said that correctly. So that's why I did that.
Before we move on from the face mask, you didn't feel like the one just with these two added bars that you thought that was too much? That was the best face, the Deion Sanders.
I grew up with the box.
Did you?
When I played running back.
We call it a crab down here in Florida. We call it a crab.
Yeah, we call it the box, and so like no, that's in my eyes. Like if I'm coming out of a 3 cut going to the right, and that ball's on me right away, that bar could be in my vision, and I could drop the ball. And I always looked at it this way: if I drop the ball, I would say that's $100,000. If I drop the touchdown, I would say that's $1 million, right? Like that's how I always looked at it. You know what I mean? I held myself accountable that way. When that ball was in the air, it's like, I can't drop this. That's $100,000. If, it's second, third down. If it's a touchdown, that's $1 million. And I felt that way because, like, when we're back at the table, you got to look at it. The difference between 7 touchdowns at the table to 10 touchdowns could be the difference between $2 to $3 million, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how I approached it. And the visor question that you had, if I was in a good groove with my hands in my eyes, I would have my visor on. But if I'm in a groove where I'm dropping some balls or my hands don't feel sticky, I would take the visor off, and I didn't want anything in my way.
No, fair enough. Yeah, and as a receiver too, I can relate to that. Some day, especially when it's raining or something like that, you're like, nah, take this off. Like even if rain's in the forecast, take it off. We good.
Right.
But
Ashley, how did you feel? What did you do when you were playing? When you were in your prime of your career? What type of approach did you have to your visors, your helmets, your gloves, and all of that?
It didn't matter because I'm a winner. You know what I mean?
I
can win in any scenario. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's on my face, what's on my hands. Like I was going to Super Bowl. I was going to the playoffs.
No stretch.
You know what I mean?
They call her no stretch.
I didn't have that issue. I mean, I guess like you got to do all the extra stuff. When you're not winning, but when you winning, it doesn't matter. So I can't relate to the conversation y'all having. You know what I mean?
Ashley, this is what I would say to you before we move on to the last throwback uniform. You would have been the most super diva-ish person on any roster.
No, would
like
it?
You talk about diva receivers. Yes, you would have. You got some corners. You know who you'd have been? You would have probably been like Deion Sanders.
But Deion was a winner. You see my point?
You would have been making rap songs.
Nah.
You would have acted just like Deion.
But you know what Deion has? A Super Bowl ring. He's a winner.
Indeed, he does.
Okay, so there goes my point. Okay, point proven. Next jersey, go Corey.
Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got for the next one. There it is.
Throwback Seattle.
This is my personal favorite. I love these uniforms. I think of who is it, Largent, the receiver for the Seahawks back in the day. That's the correct name, isn't it? Isn't it, Brandon?
Steve Largent?
Yep,
Steve Largent. Yeah. But these uniforms, I love when they mix in
these. Great wide receiver.
Yep, absolutely. I love when they mix in these combos, though. You guys like these with the silver and like that royal blue? What you think, Ashley?
It's cool.
Yeah?
It's a little bright.
You like so me personally, I'd take this over the Oilers, though. You like the Oilers over this one?
I'm going with the Oilers.
You going with the Oilers?
This is a little bright for me. It's a little like, it's a little, I don't know. It's kind of hurting my eyes a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Could be the lighting.
I hear. Hey, to each their own. Like you said, I mean, because I wasn't a big fan of the Colts. I could see why people like the Colts, and I could see why you wouldn't like the Seahawks. So
I like that green.
I get it. I love it.
This reminds me of their color rush, where it was the all neon green, and I hated those jerseys. Like
really?
No,
You
like
think
in
this
terms
is-
of
But it's a neon
brightness, like
green,
it's
yeah.
bright. It's just too.
Yeah, because those were not it.
Those were
neon
ugly.
greens.
But I'm saying the brightness, the way that it kind of like my eyes, I feel the same way looking at that. Like my eyes, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't stare at that.
Yeah.
So you still down for those other unis? The Oiler ones?
The Oiler ones are tough. I like the color. It's easy on the eyes. It's like it's
Okay.
dope. It's the ultimate throwback. I don't know. For me, I'm not a big fan of bright jerseys.
Yeah.
I don't really like. I like
saying.
them to be more. Like, I don't mind them to have color, but I like it to be like a subtle. I don't like neons. I don't know. It just never really was like my stilo. Like, I like more dark colors.
I got you. Honestly, I forget what the last uniform was. It was the Vikings. The Vikings.
Dang, can I not respond to the Seahawks?
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you did.
I
My
want
fault.
to
You
respond
picked
to
the
the
Oilers.
Seahawks. Can you throw that back up there? I just want to tell you guys how I would freak this uniform, right?
Oh, that's right. You haven't done that for these one up.
I'm going crazy. I'm going the lime green.
Just again, crazy to take an L. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Ain't no L happening. I'm also going for 175 yards, 10 grabs, and 3 touchdowns. Like
that part.
with this, don't let it be a primetime game.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I'm going crazy. So look, I'm wearing the lime green. I'm putting lime green like Michael Jordan patent leather type joints on with this, right? And I might put a hint of blue in, and then I'm going 4 pairs of blue socks. Right, so what you do is we call them halfies, okay?
Or you cut them up.
You take 4 of those blue socks and you like ruffle them up and look like you got this crazy leg going on, right? But you put a little foot, little I don't even know what you call them, little white. So you're gonna see it's a hint of white, but everything blue with the lime green. Oh yeah, I'm going crazy with that.
You said
and then my gloves, I'll probably do something with the blue and the green with this.
What was the Michael Jordan?
So I just looked up this, like JP, shout out to JP. He just put out a tweet of 4 of the jerseys that we're talking about, 4 of some of them. And the Seahawks is one of the photos. And the jersey is actually darker than it appears on the screen.
That's what I'm saying, the photos.
So it's not that bad. Like looking at it like in terms of photo. And what it would actually look like to the human eye, it's not that bad. It's more of like a darker cobalt blue versus like this neon bright blue.
Yeah, right.
So seeing that, this is dope. But I still take the Oilers, but I don't hate the Seahawks seeing this in like true color.
Yeah, I'm seeing them now. They do look kind of hard, yeah.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, we got that Vikings one. I'm sorry, B, you was going to say something?
Go ahead. I can talk forever about that. You know how I'm gonna freak that uniform. That one it gives you a lot of options. Go ahead.
There you go. Yeah. Now the Vikings, I personally do like this Vikings colorway though. It's KJ Osborne. He actually was on the show not too long ago. But this throwback Vikings uni, I like it. I really do.
I love their helmets.
The helmet part, yeah.
Their the matte purple. Their helmets are tough.
It is.
Oof.
I know.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorites. I might put this above the Oilers.
Yeah.
This is just clean. Like the color, it's nice. It's the right shade of purple, just the right amount of yellow or gold, rather white. Like it's just clean. It's crisp. That matte purple helmet just takes it over the top. I'm a fan of this one for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
Ashley,
It's between Oilers and this one. These are my favorites.
It's not that different from what they currently wear. That's why.
It's clean.
It isn't. But
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You heard?
The stripes on the shoulder though, I feel like that's what does it for me. Like I don't know why that little
it's one
subtle
extra
change
stripe.
to the jersey. Is that what it is?
It's just one extra stripe.
Yeah. No,
I'm looking
I
at
just
last
like
year's.
That. Yeah.
It's only 2 stripes.
Yeah, I just like that traditional Vikings look because they also don't wear the white pants with it. I think that's what it is, or is it? No, they wear white pants.
No, they wear white pants.
But yeah, no, that colorway is the best. Yo, so who you got on top? Who you giving the trophy to for the best uniforms, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't look at I think the Vikings uniform is dope.
Yes, for sure.
I'm aligned with Ashley, with her feeling her reaction to the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about throwback, I got to go with the Oilers, right?
Yeah.
Like that to me, throwbacks. I go Oilers one. We didn't look at the Cincinnati Bengals. I like their, and then even the Browns that, they copy, it's a copycat league. That's what the NFL is. So even the Browns are up there for me, but I'm freaking that Vikings uniform as well. Like I'll probably go with some crazy purple cleats with my secondary color, that yellow. That's what I would do there. And usually I'll do the opposite, but I'm gonna go with the primary color as the primary color with my cleats. And then I'll do a hint of yellow. And maybe at halftime, Ashley's not a big fan of this, but maybe at halftime, I'll do a whole nother change as well, come out with something crazy. This is the type of uniform when you're left foot in on your right. But when I tell you guys this, man, and shout out to Corey for getting this in. He's been trying to get this segment in for about a week. But actually for me, and we're seeing it across all sports now where people are investing a lot into their look, not only on the court, on the field, but also pregame, postgame. That was the funnest thing for me. Like it wasn't the celebrations, but like it was curating my entire day. Like when I left the team hotel and I got on a bus or I got in my Rolls Royce or my old school car, whatever I was driving, if it was a home game, like whatever car I was getting into, my playlist, the music I was listening to, and what I was wearing, everything was curated. That's where I put my time. Like I would go through like my whole day. Like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna have 150 catches, I'm gonna break this record, or this is where we're gonna be at in a division. So then I'm probably gonna be invited to the presser, so I'm gonna be at the podium, and then I'm gonna say this, and then what am I wearing, right? So like that was outside of the game itself. That the whole curating what you're wearing, what you're saying was the game that I enjoyed. Yeah. So this brought me back to my playing days, and it was very, reflective for me. So thank you, Corey, for creating a segment that took me back to the glory days.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm one of those old school athletes, Ashley, that's going to sit around and tell my grandkids and anybody who would listen, you don't remember this, but let me tell you these old stories. Do you know I played with Jay Cutler? Do you know I played with Brian Urlacher? Let me tell you.
That's too funny.
So great segment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just want to get you guys' thoughts on this real quick before we talk Saquon Barkley, because we want to get Ashley's thoughts on his situation.
We also have some other quick breaking news that I'm reading right now.
Okay.
But we can talk Saquon first and then hit this, and then we'll move it on.
Yeah. Let's do it. Well, I also wanted to get y'all's thoughts on Netflix confirming season 2 of Quarterback. That the documentary series that's following quarterbacks right now. They're following Patrick Mahomes. Believe it or not, I haven't.
I haven't
but
either.
I think them securing a season 2 is kind of giving me the incentive to actually watch that. But right now they're following Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. Next season, I mean, honestly, every quarterback in the NFL is really fair game. But it's come out that Justin Fields has already declined the offer to be on.
Yes,
season 2,
he declined. He declined the offer for season 1, and then declined again for season 2.
Yeah, what's up with you, Justin? Like we want to see.
Justin wants you to mind his business. Mind your business is what he wants you to do.
That might be it. But I know B, you watched it, right?
Yeah, Corey. So you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago when it premiered, right? We talked about if we were interested in watching it, and we both came to the conclusion that it wasn't interesting for us. We weren't going to watch it. With that being said, Corey, and I think I told you this, I had a very late night not too long ago. Maybe it was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I'm just laying in bed and I had nothing to watch, okay? I watched everything that I could possibly watch that interests me. I'm a documentary guy. I'm a health and wellness guy. So all of that beyond food type stuff, I'm watching that. There's no snowfall. There's no power, none of that. So, I'm searching. And let me give this Netflix quarterback series a chance. Peyton Manning's a producer on it. Omaha Productions. Let me support my brethren. And so I watch it, and it's really good. It was interesting. So like you said, Kirk Cousins being able to go into the mind of Kirk Cousins, absolutely brilliant in his home, absolutely brilliant. Seeing Patrick Mahomes and getting some of those intimate details, like, he rented his house before the playoffs even started in Arizona.
Yeah.
Those are the type of sound bites that are coming out of that, right? So even Mariota, like seeing his struggles, seeing some of his accomplishments, and I thought it was really good. Season 2 is here, or they extended this. They signed off on season 2, and I think they've already confirmed the 3 quarterbacks that are going to be on. So, Wu, can you look that up? I know Aaron Rodgers is one, okay? So they're going to be following Aaron Rodgers and maybe Josh Allen, and I don't remember the third. But there are 3 really, really cool quarterbacks that they're following for season 2. Because you had Peyton Manning on the Pat McAfee show, who's the producer, like I said, confirming what quarterbacks are signed off on it.
Yeah. So
Will, do you have that yet?
I'm looking it up, but I got a lot of Justin Fields
It's all
information,
good.
I guess.
I didn't know that they confirmed it. I know they had a wish list, but I don't think it was ever actually confirmed.
Yeah,
no, I remember seeing Josh Allen.
Yeah, there's been names circulating, like Justin Herbert's another name that's been circulating. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers.
I saw Joe Burrow.
I saw Joe Burrow. So I've seen a lot of names.
I don't know. It was definitely confirmed because he was on a Pat McAfee show.
Okay.
And I was shocked that Aaron Rodgers actually signed off to do this. It seems like Aaron Rodgers is embracing New York and this whole media thing. So, it makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks and quarterback. That's a lot of Aaron Rodgers.
Where he's at, yeah.
It's a lot.
Right. And this is a guy that never really gave us anything, right?
Okay.
Like you had to go to the Pat McAfee show on Mondays and watch him for 20 minutes just to see a little bit of his personality.
Oh, so the chat saying that was never confirmed, that was just like a fan tweet that went viral, but they haven't confirmed the quarterbacks yet for the new season.
Okay, so I stand corrected. Thanks. See, that's what I love about our chat. Have we named our chat yet, Ashley and Corey?
I forgot.
Wasn't it Paper Chasers?
Paper Chasers.
Yeah, they gave
Wasn't that what it was?
Uh-huh.
Is that what we did?
I really love it. I don't love Paper Chasers. I feel like it should be more something along in the spirit of like sports and team, like, you know what I mean, squad, team, you know what I mean, like, because I Am Athlete presenting Paper Route, so like now we have to have 2 names. So I Am Athlete,
Paper,
and then we're gonna have Paper Route. Like, I feel like the network should have like one thing.
I mean, but if the people like it,
the
right?
people say they like.
Well, athletes are paper chasers, are they not?
You know what? I was thinking about just keeping this to myself. I'm like, that's what it seems like professional sports has become, right? It just becomes a money. Everyone across the board, just a money hungry.
I feel like
business.
you can't get more paper chasing than sports, but
yeah. Moving on, we gonna move on.
No, that's just the business.
Paper people, paper planes, paper planes. Paper.
Ben Ashley Nicole Moss.
Paper
Ben Hurd. Is that what he said?
This is coming from the guy who created Sneaky Snipers. Please get out of my face.
Route runners.
It's too funny. All right, we're gonna move on though. And yeah, Ashley, you weren't here yesterday when the news broke, but running back Saquon Barkley agreed to a 1-year deal with the Giants. That includes $10.1 million guaranteed, $2 million upfront in a signing bonus, and they're including incentives up to $909,000. So that'll equate to a contract worth up to $11 million. Those incentives: 1,350 rushing yards plus a playoff berth, 16 receptions, 11 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on this deal? Did they do right by Saquon? So on and so forth.
Like, I don't. At this point, I just kind of, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? It kind of is what it is. I'm confused though because the franchise tag wasn't like $10.5 million.
10.091, I think.
It was the exact same price.
And then the 1-year deal is $11 million.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
it's $11 million including incentives.
If he hits those incentives.
So it's basically the same thing.
So it's the same thing.
Correct.
So.
And he got $2 million up front.
What was the issue?
So we actually had a conversation after the show yesterday, and this comes down to, I think, Saquon just being the player. I don't think he's happy about this at all, but I also don't think that he doesn't want to miss a year. right? And I want to just present this because we talked about this as well yesterday. Brandon actually just mentioned it during the uni discussion, which is like when he dropped the pass, he thought that was 100,000. If he made a touchdown, it was $1 million. Do you want your running back set, ready to go on third down, thinking about, do I need 7 catches this game? Do I need another 150 yards this game? Because that's the only way he gets that money.
Right. So I ask again, what was the issue? Because if you knew that the 1-year deal was X amount of money with incentives, which I'm sure they presented to him, he knew it. And then you knew the franchise tag was X amount of money without incentives. If the 1-year deal wasn't a long-term deal that you actually wanted, and the franchise tag wasn't a long-term deal that you actually wanted, now it just comes down to money. It's the same amount of money. It's essentially the same exact deal, except one, you don't have to worry about doing all the intangibles and all the other things to raise the stock of the actual deal. You could just take your money and play the season and not worry about that. A 1-year deal with all these incentives is great if you hit it, but if you don't, it's the same deal. So I'm just confused. Why not just take the franchise tag if you knew that's what the 1-year deal was? I don't understand what the whole.
Well,
this is a little.
I don't understand what the issue is.
Yeah. So Ashley, I'm with you. It's like at this point, it is what it is. But when you look at it a little bit deeper, what you'll see is, he got $2 million up front. I don't know if he needs that money. He's probably crushing it off the field, definitely playing for the New York Football Giants in the biggest media market in the world. And he's a brandable guy. But then he's given an opportunity or the chance to bring in an additional $900,000. So that's what that is. What I don't love about this deal, upon further review, is that, I would have said, you know what, keep the $900,000, the extra million, whatever you want to call it, keep that. But let's agree to you not franchise tagging me next year. That's where I feel like Saquon and his team missed out. That's more valuable than an extra $1 million. And a lot of these incentives they control, right? So when you look at, what makes up these incentives, we're talking about he has to have 1,350 yards on the ground with a playoff berth, and he hits one incentive, right? He's never had over 1,300 yards, Ashley. And I don't believe the Giants are in position to I don't think they're contenders. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be strong. And that's a team that I should have put on my Brandon Sneaky Snipers, is the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to be scary good this year, right? And then you obviously have the Philadelphia Eagles there. And this is a tough division. Ashley thinks this is the toughest division in sports. There's a lot of people that say that toughest division in NFL, the Commanders, right? I say that because the Commanders, they're still going to give people challenges. What are they going to do? So the chances of hitting that first incentive, I think it's 30%. The second incentive is 63 catches. Now, he had the most receptions on a team last year, I think with like 53. If it was the same situation, I think he gets that. But now they have 15 guys, 15 wide receivers on the roster this year. You best believe that Brian Daboll is going to fix this passing game. He's going to get the ball in his wide receivers' hands more this year. They're going to be more comfortable in year 2. So I don't think Saquon has more than 50 catches this year. And the last one is touchdowns. I think he hits that, right? I think it's 11 touchdowns. The most touchdowns he had in the year is 10. I think Saquon probably this year goes for almost 15 touchdowns. That's what I believe. So I don't love this deal. I think he should have fought for the team not being able to franchise tag him after, because now they're going to be in the same position next year. And when I look at how Saquon has played this, I think he just gave in and said, you know what, I'm betting on myself. And if you franchise tag me next year, I'm going to get uncomfortable, right? Like, I think that he's had it. I think he's pissed off, especially when you see that 3 dudes been signed to major deals this offseason. His left tackle just got signed to a record-breaking deal today or last night. You had Daniel Jones get signed to a deal that gives him $40 million a year, and their big D tackle also got paid. And now you got Saquon Barkley, the face of the franchise, the catalyst of that offense, and he's playing on a 1-year deal. That sucks, and that's not good business.
Not at all. Not at
all. I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't say, Ash, if you don't have anything to add there. Well, didn't you say you had like a piece of news that you wanted to throw in?
Yes. JP sent me an interesting tweet, and it is being reported. Give me 1 second so I can quote this correctly. Hold on. Here we go. It says that Tyreek Hill, this is per Omar Kelly, says that Tyreek Hill says that he plans to enter the Hall of Fame as a Miami Dolphin. Corey, what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, that's a great statement there. That sounds like Tyreek Hill. We got him locked up for a few more years now. I mean, that is the hope. Of course, it's a business, but I mean, I would like for him to bring home a Super Bowl. I think Super Bowl would that needs to be at the top of his mind right now. That'd be great. So I guess that's my response to that.
They'll never winning ever again.
Yeah, that's my response to that piece of news. So,
well, do you think Brandon, you think that even if Tyreek Hill does not win a Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins, we already know he's going to the Hall of Fame. Do you think that the Miami Dolphins will be his last stop so that when he does enter the Hall of Fame, he will be a Miami Dolphin?
I don't believe Tyreek. I do believe he'll go in as a Miami Dolphin if he plays more than if he hits 4 years with the Miami Dolphins. I don't believe Tyreek Hill when he says that this is his last contract and then he's going to retire. He looked me in my eyes off camera and said this. We had this discussion. We did his podcast. He said it again. He said it publicly a few times. I don't believe that. I believe Tyreek Hill is still in his prime, and I believe there's another contract left in him. I believe Tyreek Hill at the end of this deal is going to be looking up and saying, yo, I'm close to breaking this record. I'm close to passing this legend on this particular stat line. Am I breaking up here?
No. I'm just saying. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. Here we go.
So you have that, right? But this to me, Ashley, when you talked about this, when you presented this, semi-breaking news, I thought about the business, right? I thought about Saquon Barkley, the topic we just got off of. Why is he saying that? He's saying that because the business was sour in KC. They couldn't get it done, right? So what now, and he is, I want the face of, but and you're the guy treats you so good. They give you whatever you want, and so that's why he feels that way because he's being treated better, from a business standpoint and from a day-to-day in Miami, right? So that makes me think about Saquon. Right? Like, will this relationship ever be right? Josh Jacobs in Las Vegas, will this relationship ever be right? And to me, it's no. Like, because it's personal for athletes. You don't do right by me in business. You crap all over me, but then you overuse me on the field, and you think we're supposed to be good? Hell no. No, absolutely not. So that's my thought around Tyreek Hill in this semi-breaking news.
Yeah. He killed me with the semi-breaking news. But anyways, we're going to move on.
Well, that's what Ashley said. Didn't Ashley call it semi-breaking news?
No, I said we had some news.
Yeah.
I didn't say
nothing broke.
Nothing breaking, just some news.
Semi-breaking news. No, I want to get...
I thought that's what you said at the beginning. Oh, we got some breaking news. That's what you said.
Nah, I call it semi-breaking. No, I'm playing. But now, moving on, I want to just get you guys' thoughts on this. So, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers and University of Southern California quarterback Caleb Williams are vouching for players to be able to earn equity in franchises. So representative of USC quarterback said that he had made it, him and his representatives are making it known to prospective agents that Williams wants partial ownership in teams that select him in 2004 when he's projected to declare for the draft. And then also Aaron Rodgers attempted to secure equity in his contract in discussions with the New York Jets. So I wanted to ask you guys, and I can start with you, Ashley. Should players be allowed equity, in NFL franchises, or do you see this being something that will cause some controversy down the line?
Yes and no. I think there should be stipulations because, as we know, players get traded all the time. Right. And if every time you get traded to a new team, you have equity, by the end of your career, you have equity in like 5 or 6 teams.
Correct.
I think that there should be a stipulation based on how long you're there in order to get equity. For example, someone like Aaron Rodgers should have equity in the Green Bay Packers.
Agreed.
But somebody like Tyreek Hill shouldn't have equity in the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I mean? I think it should be based on time played.
Got you.
Because then you're just going to, like I said, have people all over the place with equity in so many different teams. But I definitely think it should happen. I think and that should be in lieu of actual money. So it should be money taken off of their contract if you want it in equity. Or if you don't want it in equity, then you take it in your contract. But I don't think you would be able to do both. I think that if somebody is of a business mind, they'd be willing to take $1 million less in their contract if that equals 1% or less than 1% equity in an NFL franchise. It depends on the individual, but I don't think that you should be able to do both. And it should be based on how long you're within a franchise. It shouldn't just be like every rookie gets equity in a team, because if they're not there, and look at Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson had equity in the Jets, you know what I mean? Like, so it should be time served, and it should be an option of money or equity, but not both.
Or a mix of both, right?
No, because I think if you do a mix of both, you have the equity is the money in the long game.
It's like the player.
I get that.
So like I'm giving you money. I'm paying you down the line in lieu of not having to pay you up front.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now
it should have now then.
You'll still get. I'm saying you'll still get your contract, but let's say you want Say you want 1% equity in an NFL franchise. That's $1 million less that I'm going to pay you up front right now, because that money's going to come circle back to you later down the road. That's what I mean. You should still get your contract. I'm not saying it should be a substantial amount of money you're not going to get up front, but there should be a part of it that is given back to the franchise immediately, because you're going to get your return down the line.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, Brandon, your thoughts on this?
This is, hopefully you guys can hear me clear here. This is interesting. This reminds me of Tom Brady in his relationship with Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots. You know, a lot of us, internally always question, like, why is he taking these team-friendly deals? This is Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 10 years ago, could have freaking demanded $50 million a year, like these deals that we're seeing that the quarterbacks are getting today, right? And so for me, I always wondered, like, man, has Robert Kraft ever, under the table or offline said, you know what, Tom, when you retire, I'm going to make sure you have equity and we're going to make it up post-career, right? I always wondered that. So, Ashley, I there's some, like, I agree with some of your position here. I think it's like the older athletes, right? Like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Donald, guys like that are entering like the last phase of their career, and it's their last hurrah, and teams are like, yo, we're going to bring you in knowing that you only have 1 or 2 more years, and we're going to give you a piece. I don't see this happening. I don't think that the owners will allow it. Also, I think that the CBA won't allow it. So there's some labor issues that's also surrounding this. If it's not in the CBA, you can't negotiate this, okay? So that's the second thing. What I do believe is going to happen, because the NFL always follow the NBA, is what the NBA did last year, right? They opened up a small piece where athletes, their players, can actually invest in teams, but you have to have the money. So I do believe the NFL is looking at ways to get more players involved in ownership, but they're going to have the money. We're talking about significant cash. That's what's going to happen.
Well, you don't need to have significant cash if you join an investment firm. If you're in a group of people, you just have to have enough to go ahead and get a nice return on your investment. But you don't have to have Magic Johnson money if you're part of an investment group. You would just take a smaller piece of the puzzle. But I do think that I do agree that it's going to be hard to do this with the NFL, only because versus the NBA. In the NBA, I know it's become a little bit archaic in the way that the league has unfolded, but at least in the NBA, you have players who stay with the same team their entire career. It happens less and less frequently now as it did back in the day, but think of a Kobe Bryant. Yeah. Think of a Dirk Nowitzki. Think of a Tony Parker. Oh, well, no, Tony Parker didn't stay with it. Think of a Tim Duncan. Think of a Michael
Those days
Jordan.
are over, Ashley.
Huh?
Those days are over.
That's what I'm saying. Those days are over. Basketball. So, like, it's hard. And Michael Jordan and the Wizards doesn't count. He's a Bull. Think of D Wade and the Miami Heat. I don't count any other place that he went to. Like, it's very rare that players stay with the same organization from beginning to end, which is why I think NBA equity, giving players equity in NBA franchises, you would definitely be able to do it because you give a lifelong player equity. A Magic Johnson probably has equity in the Los Angeles Lakers, lifelong Laker. In the NFL, it's hard because there's so much constant movement that I don't know how you would put the red tape in there to make it so that you don't have players who just have money in multiple franchises. So that's the only thing I feel like they're going to run into an issue with.
Listen, I know these are all our opinions, right? But I just don't see that happening, right? Like, so, we started off this conversation because Aaron Rodgers in negotiations with the Jets asked for equity, and the Jets didn't even have to say no. The NFL stepped in and said it can't happen because it's not a part of the collective bargaining agreement, and that will create labor issues, right? And then you have Caleb, a kid, like now he has to be careful, right? Like for him to have this mindset, I get it, right? Business, but like teams could look at this and this could be a huge turn off to teams. You are a rookie or are going to be a rookie asking for equity? Are you kidding me? We don't get the damn Heisman's.
You're breaking up, B. We can't hear you.
Have we seen come in and not even play a snap? Say that again?
Yeah, you were breaking up. We can't hear you.
Oh my goodness, it was such a great point.
He said
he was getting it was so good.
Well, doesn't Brady have equity in the Raiders?
He does now,
but by the way, to confirm,
right?
That's
Magic sold his equity in 2010.
Magic sold his equity in the Lakers, but he did have equity.
Yeah, 4%.
Wasn't it built into his contract? Or was it after he got done playing?
No, I think he purchased it.
He purchased it after he retired.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And I know I'm a little choppy here, but no, you're going to have to. Tom Brady invested cash, right? And that's what's going to have to happen in NBA and NFL. Player wants equity, put your money up, and this is going to be more post-career. It's a conflict for active. CP.
Okay. We just lost him.
You were listening to Brandon Marshall. You're listening to Ashley Nicole Moss. I'm Corey in the cut. I got Wu out west, and I got BC in the booth. And you're listening to Paper Route on Faction Talk, Sirius XM Channel 103. We're going to take a break right quick, but when we come back, we're going to talk Kevin Durant. He says he convinced Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, to take marijuana off of the banned substance list. So we'll talk about that. And Mikal Bridges and his Nets teammates say they have big confidence in Ben Simmons. And if you remember yesterday, Brandon Marshall said that Ben Simmons could be Magic Johnson, the next Magic Johnson. So, yeah, we'll get into that conversation when we come back.
Are you the best defensive player, or are you the best player to ever play football?
I'm not going to say I'm the best player to ever play football.
What about defense?
Am I the best defensive player? Okay. If not, who?
Brandon?
Reggie White. Reggie White's a great player. And I put him up there in the same class as myself. Every time I walk into a room or I pick up a paper or something, it's LT, hey, I see an article, they talk about all these people. And then always my name always shows up in the last sentence of the last paragraph just before they say greatest of all time. Okay.
Hey, do you think you could have played in this era?
Yeah, if I didn't want a paycheck, yeah. Kick me out of the game every week. Now, but yeah, I can play in an era. I think I can. I mean, I am rugged enough to play in this era. I don't know. That's a hard question, man.
Could you have cleaned your game up, though? The violence, the aggression.
Clean. That was clean as I could get it. I was clean.
Then you can't play in this era.
It might be a problem. I may have to play a different position. Maybe have to move to the inside, where it was a little easier.
So, yeah, as I said before the break, Kevin Durant, he had a meeting with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, and the meeting was about marijuana and basically it being on the substance, the banned substance list. And basically it was a conversation about whether or not the NBA needs to continue to test NBA players. And as we know, it kind of went into KD and maybe the marijuana smokers' favor. But this is what KD said when he met with Adam Silver. He said, well, he smelt it when I walked in, so I don't really have too much to say. He kind of understood where this was going. Everybody is doing it. Actually, was it a long time coming, really, just with the NBA and really in sports in general beginning to kind of lighten up on the idea that marijuana really is an effect in play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it also was something that was going to be really hard to prevent as it continued to get legalized throughout the country, because who is the NBA to say that a player can't smoke marijuana if they're in Denver? Like, you're not breaking the law.
But they could buy a beer.
Right. So, you're not breaking any laws by doing it. So I think that the more that it gets legalized and the more that it has gotten legalized, the harder it was for the NBA to go ahead and justify making it a banned substance, which is why I think that they were ahead of the curve in banning it. I then believe the MLB followed suit. And then I think the NFL. I believe the NFL was last out of the big three. You can double check that, Andrew. But I think that also there have been studies, based on, marijuana has been used for cancer patients. It has been used in the medical field for a variety of different things. And it counteracts, it's much better than using opioids, which have been a huge crisis in this country for many years. People develop severe addictions to it. A lot of cases, they're deadly. So I think that a lot of athletes are more in tune with that, and they don't want to be pumped up with opioids and man-made medications to deal with chronic pain or to deal with whatever, or to deal with insomnia or to deal with whatever it is that they're using it for. They want to go ahead and take more natural routes. And with the substance being legalized in so many parts of the country, the NBA and these leagues and these businesses had no choice but to get on the curve. So I'm not surprised at all.
Your question was what order?
Was it NBA, MLB, then NFL?
No, actually it was MLB first. Then it was
NBA?
NFL.
NFL was not before NBA.
I got 2021.
I thought NBA was first.
No, NBA definitely came before NFL.
I thought NFL just came around, right?
Just came around.
I got 2021 off season.
Interesting.
No, because the NBA banned it the NBA lifted the ban in the bubble. 2020.
Okay, so then it was 1 year after the other.
So it was MLB, NBA, and then the NFL finally came around. But I remember specifically Adam Silver lifted the ban when the players went into the bubble.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was definitely NBA and then NFL. We always follow. NFL's always behind on things like this. Ashley, you brought up a great point, and hopefully you guys can hear me and I'm clear here. Players want more healthier remedies around recovery and healing. Okay, so all of these, pain pills that they're giving us, and the Toradol shots and Toradol pills, is crushing guys' liver, is crushing guys long term, right? So when you look at all of the research around marijuana, there's a lot of things coming out that guys are recovering faster, healing faster when used appropriately, right? Like, I will say this: I wish I actually had a better relationship with marijuana while I was playing. Like, meaning that, like, I knew what I was doing. I knew how to use it for the right reasons, whether it's sleep, anxiety, or healing, recovery, right? If I did, I truly believe that, hell, I may still be playing, right? I knew teammates back in the day that was doing that, and they weren't taking the Toradol or the Celebrex, the Naproxen or Naproxen, whatever it's called, the pain pills that they were giving us, and they were recovering faster than some of us other guys that were doing it. I love that KD stood up and had this meeting, but there was other guys that stood up as well, the Al Harringtons of the world, the Steven Jacksons of the world, the Matt Barnes of the world, that was very vocal as well. So interesting topic, and there's still so much more work to do around this.
How you feel about it, being tested for at the NCAA level, collegiate level? Do you think that should remain the same? Because what they did in recent years is just basically raise the threshold. So
no, they shouldn't. No, listen, first off, like, think about this. Like, now, in most states it's legal, right? Look how many people, men and women, we have behind bars over this. And now you have institutions, you have a lot of individuals actually making a shit ton of money off of this. So that's a problem. And second, just to keep it real, 90% of these damn coaches are smoking marijuana, right? To me, a lot of this is black and white, right? Like, it's just like right is right, wrong is wrong. If you're going to smoke marijuana, then your players need to smoke marijuana. I mean, they should be able to smoke marijuana, right? Like, if you have a player that is struggling, that is abusing some of these things, then now we need to have other things in place to get these guys help. But the reality is, all these prominent men and women in business, all these prominent men and women in politics, all these prominent men and women in sports, they're all doing these things, and sometimes even doing more.
Yeah.
So please, miss me with that.
Yeah, you might be right with that one. Yeah, anything to add here before we move on, Ashley? We good? Yep, so.
Legalize it.
Yeah, legalize it, man, legalize it. All right, moving on. So Nicole Bridges, player currently for the Brooklyn Nets, was currently on Podcast P, that is Paul George's podcast. And basically they had a conversation about Ben Simmons, and he said that in this clip that we'll show you, that he has big confidence. Him and his teammates, they have big confidence in Ben Simmons. So let's take a look at that real quick.
This is my guy. I got big confidence. I got big faith in him more this year. His back was messed up now. Got surgery. He's getting back. But he loved the game, bro. I think he's in a good place. All of us, we're close. He's the one talking in the chat all the time, and we all with him. And obviously, we want him to score and stuff, but we ain't pressed about it. You just want to be him, be aggressive.
How do you find ways you can be a support system for him?
Just be there with him, man. Support him. Even if you struggle, whatever, that's cool. Wherever city we go hang out, go get dinner, whatever, get ready for the next one. I think that's the biggest thing, is just he could be confident enough to fail and know, we're there for him. You don't want nobody you feel that pressure every single time, if I don't play well, these guys might not like me. Nah, for me, that's not the case. I'll just try to be there. I'm listen, bro, you struggle. We're here for you. We want to be there through the process. If you shoot 5 middies in a row, you miss all 5, shoot the 6th one. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a big fan of Ben Simmons, man. He still has that game in him. We know you're going to get through it, man. Just keep powering through it. Return back to elite form.
All right, now let me know what y'all feel about this. Because in my opinion, I think the roster that the Brooklyn Nets have right now is the best roster that Ben Simmons has been on. In terms of, and not to say skill-wise, but I'm talking about the best situation for him, I think, to be the best version of himself. Does that make sense? Kevin Durant and Kyrie, we know of those guys obviously being elite players, and maybe even a James Harden. But I don't even think they was there at the same time. But they're not maybe the best teammates or the best motivators. I think guys like Mikal Bridges, guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, those guys who are veterans who also, maybe might just be a little bit more personable than those guys that I just mentioned. I feel like this might be the best situation for Ben Simmons. I don't know. How do y'all feel about that?
Well,
I think we can
Kyrie's
see the best version
not.
of Ben Simmons
You've
next
never.
year.
I don't know where this narrative that Kyrie's not a good teammate has come from. Nobody's ever played with him has ever said that.
Right.
Kevin Durant has one of the hardest work ethics in the NBA. I mean, Devin Booker has spoken to that. He's working out with Jordan Poole. I mean, Kevin Durant is a hooper. He has one of the, like I said, best work ethics. He eats, breathes, sleeps basketball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if being around that is not contagious, that's not a them thing. Now, I do agree that, I don't think that the media and fans gave him a fair shot. He did come off of surgery. It did come out that, he wasn't 100% healthy. You could see even during the season, it was very up and down, and ultimately he sat out for the remainder of the season. And back surgery is not something that you can just overcome easily. Your nerves have to regenerate. There's a lot of things that go into that I don't think people give players the benefit of the doubt with. It's not a fractured ankle or a sprained ankle, rather. It's a major thing. Nerves and ligaments and things are all within your spine, and it affects your entire body. It holds up your entire body. So that I agree with. It wasn't fair. He needed an entire offseason. He has it. Only time will tell if that was really all that he needed. But I will say the only thing that I disagree with is this narrative of he doesn't have to score. Because if you look at the roster, you don't have a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving to take that load off. Those are two of the best scorers in the NBA. Yeah. You have a nice roster of guys with you, but they're not Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or even James Harden when he's at his best. So that means that if you have somebody on the floor who's not going to score in any capacity, not saying he has to go out there and score 25 points a game, but in any capacity, then what's happening is you're playing 5-on-4. And that means that somebody's double teamed because they know that one guy's not going to attempt to score. Mm-hmm. So while I agree that may not be what he is on the floor primarily to do, primarily on the floor to defend 1 through 5, which he's great at. That's his bread and his butter. He's when he's at his best, one of the best defenders ever. But you still need him to score the basketball at some point. So this narrative of like, oh, we don't care if he scores. You should care if he scores because it's 5-on-5 and everybody has to score or otherwise the teams are lopsided. That's the only thing. So facilitating, defending, all of that's great. If he can give that to you 90% of the time, the other 10%, I think it's fair to say you would like to see a couple scores in that 10%. Mm-hmm.
Ben Simmons is a victim of trends, okay? So, Corey, you brought up the conversation that we started yesterday, me comparing Ben Simmons to Magic Johnson, okay? Magic, right? Mm-hmm. That's a real comparison. The difference between the two are eras, which is a big deal, and there's a lot of validity behind that, right? Magic Johnson came up in an era where it was big man oriented. Okay, Ben Simmons is coming up in an era where it's about the the three, like shoot the ball. Can you shoot the ball? But in sports, there's so many different ways to approaching basketball, football, or in winning. There's different philosophies. Every year, teams win differently. The Denver Nuggets won a different way and in a different style than the Golden State Warriors. Yep. Than the Lakers did in the bubble. And you go on and on and on. You can do the same thing in football. Some teams get it done playing defense and running the ball. Some teams have a passing attack and a bend but don't break defense. So this whole narrative around Ben Simmons is all about trends, and all this is about the narrative that we in the media are pushing. Yes, Ben Simmons can get it done at a high level if he was in the right environment and had the right coaches that weren't chasing trends, weren't trying to be like the Golden State Warriors, okay, that's a dynasty, and trying to play like Steph Curry. Magic has gone down so far as the best point guard ever. Look at the comparisons. Magic is 6'9", played power forward in college. Ben Simmons is 6'10", played power forward in college. Both are flashy with their passes. Both are coast to coast dunking the ball. Both have crazy handles. Yeah. Both average around 16, 17 points a game and 7 or 8 assists. So you mean to tell me Ben Simmons doesn't have a place in today's NBA at a high level? He can't be an all-star? Go turn on the film and watch him the first 2 years when he was in Philly. Unbelievable. Now, I do believe Ben Simmons has a lot to do with this, right? Because as an athlete, you got to control your mental. And I believe he's a case of the yips. I believe he listened to the yips. I believe I break this whole thing that everybody's pushing. We all need to shoot the ball. And he got outside of himself and he didn't play his game. But if Ben Simmons plays his game, he's on the right team and has the right guys around him, and he's coming in averaging 16 points a game, 7, 8 assists, playing defense. Oh my goodness, he's an all-star. Magic Johnson is the last thing I would say to this. Magic Johnson didn't average over 24% from 3 until his 10th year. He had one good year shooting the ball. He struggled the same way Ben Simmons struggled. So yes, this comparison is real. Ben Simmons needs to get his mind right. And if he does, the Brooklyn Nets can find themselves in a very good position if they embrace letting him play his game. His game travels from era to era.
I don't understand where you guys think that you're like coming up with some just monumental take about Magic Johnson. That was literally his player comp when he got into the league. Like during the draft.
He had a couple players comps. He had Lamar Odom as a player comp. He had LeBron James as a player comp.
His player comp was Magic Johnson and LeBron James. That was literally his player comp. You guys aren't reinventing the wheel by saying comparing him to Magic Johnson. It was all. Nobody's trying to reinvent
the wheel.
So where is this Magic Johnson thing?
Can we comp that everybody talked about and said that Magic Johnson went down as the greatest point guard of all time. And if you tell me that a guy that's 6'10", that have crazy handle, that can play defense, that is flashy with his passes, that game don't translate into today's era,
who said that it didn't translate?
Mistaken. We have all missed it.
But
you just said that he needs to score.
That is not even remotely close to what I said, Brandon. What I said was you can't have somebody on the floor and just be okay with them facilitating and playing defense. He does need to score in some capacity. I specifically said he does not need to score 24 points a game. But if you don't have somebody who's even going to attempt to score the basketball, you're playing 5-on-4, which means somebody, more than likely a higher percentage shooter, is going to be double teamed, which is 100% accurate. I'm not asking him to go out there and be Michael Jordan. He should score 10 points a game.
So let me ask you this question. So are you okay with Ben Simmons averaging 15 points a game like he did his rookie year? Are you okay with Ben Simmons? And he also, I believe, won Rookie of the Year. Are you okay with Ben Simmons averaging 16? Well, it was actually 16.9, so 17 points a game like he did his second year in Philly. Or 16 points a game in his third year. Okay, so if we actually let this, as soon as we start pushing Ben Simmons to shoot, and we need you to average 20-something points.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said anything about him scoring 25 points a game. Literally, nobody said that. The critique has been is that in the last few seasons, he doesn't even attempt to score the basketball. He doesn't even look at the basket, which makes
got the yips, Ashley. He got the yips.
Regardless of what it is, the critique has always been that there's not even an attempt to score. Not that you need him to go out there and be Steph Curry. That's not his game. It's never been his game. But to say nobody ever said that his game can't translate. It's just that it can't translate if he's not even going to attempt to score. We're talking about two different things.
Here's what I'm saying, Ashley. Listen to me, right? As players, when we sit back and we watch Paper Route, the Ashley Nicole Mosses, we turn on First Take, listen to Stephen A. Smith, right? Like a lot of players, they absorb that and that can affect them. That's why we always talk about don't turn on the TV, don't read the clippings, right? Just stick to what you know and listen to your coaches and your teammates, eliminate all distractions. Because when it comes in, the wrong stuff can come out. And what I'm saying is during that time, though. Let me tell you why. Because if you see after the first 3 years, everybody's pushing Ben like this was the narrative. Tell me if I'm wrong. The conversation was, okay, we need more from Ben. Everybody was saying he hasn't attempted a 3-point shot in 4 or 5 games. So that entire narrative, that entire commentary, right, was around Ben Simmons. So what did Ben Simmons do? It might be breaking up a little bit here. Ben Simmons started to shoot the ball, or try to. He got the yips. He felt uncomfortable. That's what Ben Simmons could have controlled. That's what he contributed to this. But around that same time,
I think your history your history timeline's a little bit off. I don't think.
Well, help me out here then, because I disagree.
I think what initially happened was he was unhappy in Philly, and that unhappiness caused him to not want to play. When you're unhappy in your environment, you have no desire to play in your environment. He didn't want to be there. It was that entire holdout of getting him out of there. They fined him constantly for not showing up, for not playing. He had that entire lawsuit between the NBA and the 76ers, gets to Brooklyn, has to have back surgery. He's not 100% healthy. The medical staff still pushes him out there, but he can't compete to the level that he was pre-surgery. I don't think it had anything to do with what the media was saying about him. Did it help? Probably not, but he was already dealing with a lot of other things behind the scenes before the media even started saying about his shooting or lack thereof.
That's not true. That's not true. In his third year, going into his fourth year, before that year where he was being fined and he didn't want to be in Philly, the narrative shifted, or the commentary shifted to, will Ben Simmons attempt a shot, right? Nobody was saying he sucked. Nobody said he was a bust, but everybody was saying Ben Simmons needs to shoot the ball more. That narrative only happened first, and then
No, Brandon, that narrative only started after the Hawks series, when he didn't attempt the shot at the basket.
What year was that?
But it wasn't prior to that series. That was the postseason. Before that, nobody was saying that. His third year during the regular season, there was not even a glimmer of that. It wasn't until that series against the Hawks that it turned. But again, he already wanted out of Philly at that point. That was just the catalyst. I mean, that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. It was wanting out of Philly, not getting out of Philly, Doc Rivers throwing him under the bus in the media. Then it was the surgery. Then it was Brooklyn. Then it was playing. Then it was not playing. Then it was playing. Then it was not playing. Then it was the coaching change. Then it was the team. There was a lot of other things going on. I know the media wants to think that they have the power to make and break athletes mental, but I think that he was already dealing with a lot more before the media.
Yes, the media does.
Okay.
Yes, the media does.
Okay.
Yes, the media does. I'm sitting here as a retired athlete that played 13 years, and I'm telling you that I saw the media break so many of my teammates. So many. The media did the same thing with Ben Simmons. But that's our problem as athletes. That has nothing to do with the media. That's why you get paid the big bucks, because you're able to navigate through all of that type of distraction and that type of pressure. Most men and women on this planet can't deal with that type of pressure.
But the media was critiquing him the year he won Rookie of the Year.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. His scouting report was that he was a selfish player, that he wasn't going to go ahead and put the effort in. There was reports of him not being a team guy, being a self-centered, like all that was already existent, and he won Rookie of the Year, and he had dominant seasons in Philly. So why is it that all of a sudden it started affecting him? That doesn't make sense. If the media has been on you from day one, and that's what happens when you are a number one draft pick, the microscope on you is drastically different than it is for everyone else. Everyone keeps making it seem like he just flipped a switch and now all of a sudden the media's opinion of him bothers him. But the media's been at his neck, whether good, bad, or indifferent, since the day he stepped in Philly. He was a number one draft pick. He didn't win a championship at LSU. The scouting reports on him in terms of his personality were constantly bashing him outside of his great skill set. It was constantly talking about how he's a selfish player and he's egotistical and he's not a team guy, blah, 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 blah. That was already in pre-existence. You get to Philly, whose fans either love you or hate you. It depends on the day and how they're feeling. Like, it was already in existence. So all of a sudden, people want to go ahead and say, oh, the media broke him. But the media was always there. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter when he won Rookie of the Year. It didn't matter when he was an all-star. It didn't matter when he had dominant seasons in the NBA. So I get that media can make or break an athlete, but it doesn't affect thinking that all of a sudden that flip switches just at some point in the career when that has been their reality since day one. I don't agree with that. Mm-hmm. That's always been his reality.
Now listen, hearing both of you guys, right, I can honestly say I think both you guys make very great and valid points, because, and it kind of goes back to what I had said in the beginning, because I hear your point, Ashley. You said it was more so of him not liking Philly. In my opinion, I don't think he meshed well with his teammates, right? He didn't have a great relationship with Jimmy Butler when he was there. I don't think his relationship was good with Joel Embiid. So that aids to a player, going in a slump on the court, in my opinion. So that, I think, ties back to the point I made before that. I think now he's in a situation where he actually has a really good relationship with his teammates, right? Like, he has a good relationship with his teammates. He also has a collective roster where now he could be more ball dominant, right? Like kind of close. It really would reflect. Well, his role would reflect the same role that he had in his first 2 seasons, where he stood out, to Brandon's point. But then I believe he started to hear the chatter. He doesn't have a 3-point shot. His first 2 years, he didn't even take enough 3-pointers to give him a 3-point percentage.
Can you guys hear me?
He took 2 in Brooklyn, by the way.
To what?
But that's not his game. He's not a 3-point shooter.
To Brandon's point, yes, we can hear you. To Brandon's point, I think that's when he allowed the media to get to him, and he tried to change his game, and he didn't have players on his teams, right, that allowed him to play to his strengths.
1 second, Corey. Ashley and I, we have these legendary debates every 3 weeks, maybe every 4 weeks. This is one of them. I need to bring Ashley back here, boy. Bring Ashley right back here, boy. I lost y'all for a little bit. Ashley, can you please get me caught up to speed on what you were saying at the end before my connection was lost? Please.
I can't run through all that again.
It was a lot.
Yeah, we only have a minute left of the show, Brandon. I can't run through that again. That's not enough time.
No. We're on YouTube. If we need an extra 15 minutes, we can go extra 15 minutes. But what we're not going to do is have another basketball discussion and you walk away with a trophy. That's not happening today. No, it's not. Ashley Nicole Moss.
You can win it then, Brandon. I don't care enough.
Okay, well, we just won't do a show. Okay, we're not doing TV. Okay.
No, I'm saying I'm not going to run through everything that I just said. Just so you can walk away victorious.
What am I supposed to do? I lost my connection. My connection. It ain't about being victorious. I lost my connection.
What part do you want me to run through?
And we lost through it again. Nothing. We can move on.
Okay.
Well, there you have it, people. Another great show in the books. This is Corey in the Cut. I'm here with Ashley Nicole Moss, Brandon Marshall. I got Woo out west. I got BC in the booth. And that's all for today.
Yes,
we'll holler at y'all tomorrow for another dope episode. Have a good one, good people.